Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. This is Reservations. I'm Jeremy Blair.
And I'm Rain Whalen.
And we're done. This is it. This is the last one for the season.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The episode's over.
The episode's over. No, we're done. I mean, what I meant was that we're done. Like, this is the last one. This is,
Yeah, man. It's
we did it.
It's so hard to believe that it just feels like we just started season 6, but at the same time.
No, because then when you think about, like, when we talked about Irreversible.
Oh, yeah, Irreversible was. Man.
That was a long time ago.
I know.
Yeah.
It's still wild to think about that we started we started the season off with a movie with a 10-minute rape scene in it.
And then we're ending it with this one.
Yeah. We're ending it with a series on love.
Yeah.
Which is so wild.
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize, everyone.
Oh, that's
Hang
Alex.
on, I gotta lean down. I'm out of frame. Don't judge me.
Oh, Jesus.
Anyway, yeah, man, it's just so crazy that here we are, once again at the end of a season. What's really funny when we had that freeze, I had to be on a manager call.
Uh-oh.
And just like when we have to do the podcast over Zoom, I set up my computer in front of my movies.
Yeah.
And finally someone asked me, they're like, Rain, are you at a Blockbuster? And I was like, no, this is my, I mean, of course, wall is subjective. I was like, no, this is my movie wall. And they're like, wow, we thought you were in a library or something. I was like, well, it has the reverence of a library.
You went a Blockbuster? That's really what they asked? Like, yes, I'm in a Blockbuster.
And then my boss was like, Rain, are you still doing your podcast? I was like, yeah, we're about to wrap up season 6, and then maybe take a week or two off, and then go into season 7.
Yep, straight into it.
Yeah, but before we get into that, we have to talk about Before Midnight.
That's right.
The final episode, the final movie of the Before trilogy.
Yeah,
which you kind of. I think you kind of said it in our tease for this series is if they're going to do another one, which I don't think they should. I think 3 is perfect. This perfect story of meeting the love of your life, mm-hmm. reconciling, and then fighting to maintain. And then I
have to make a correction. I believe I said they were married, and they are not married. So,
well, so did I. I thought they were married too, but they are not.
They are not
technically.
Married. Yeah, that revelation. Yeah.
But
we'll get into that because that disappointed me also. But
yeah, so here we go.
Yeah. Okay.
Before
so
Midnight.
First time seeing it, what'd you think?
Don't be mad at me.
Okay.
I like this one the most.
Okay. No, that's fine. Yeah. Good.
I love this one the most. I agree with you that each one has consecutively gotten better and better. And I really thought I was going to like Before Sunset the most.
Yeah.
I really was. I was like, how are they going to top that? And they topped it. I mean, I think because once again, the one thing that I've been saying throughout this series is the progression is natural in this story. Now, and I guess we're just going to jump right into it. Now we are picking up 9 years later. Celine and Jesse are officially a couple. They are not married, but they might as well be because they have 2 twins together.
Not 2 sets of twins, just 2.
They don't have 4 kids. They just have a pair of twins.
Yeah.
Like a pair of socks.
Right, or a pair of glasses. Wait, no. Anyway,
because that would imply that you're wearing 2 glasses.
Right, a pair of pants. No, that also.
But they have kids, and they are sort of, now we're seeing what makes a relationship real. Not necessarily in the sense of, having kids makes a relationship real, but they are having to now maintain this love that they started back in 94 and work at it and like a real relationship would. And it's so just natural. And that's what I loved about it, is that it's, like, it's just so, I out of the 3, I think this is the most real of the 3.
Now, I did mention last time that because you like that scene in the cab, mm-hmm. right? You're going to love
Yeah, I
before
expected
midnight.
I expected there would be a fight.
Yeah.
And just like Before Sunset, they saved the fight for the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's a knockout,
It's a long fight.
drag out fight, but that's what it's like to be in a relationship. When a fight starts, it evolves, and it, feelings get hurt and things are said that maybe aren't meant. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I liked it so much. Calling back again to the beginning of this season, the realism.
Yeah.
And what I've been saying for the past 2 episodes, it's so real, and this one especially feels the most natural.
Okay.
Too. So where would you like to begin, Jeremy?
Well, let's start at the beginning. So I like that, we're introduced to Henry officially, which is his son that he had in Before Sunset.
Who was 4.
Yes.
At
And
the time.
so, and it's fans of horror films may know him from the remake of The Omen. He's Damien in the remake of The Omen. That kid.
He was also in, I know there's no one out there because I know it's not you. He was also in, shout out to the Wes Anderson fans. He was in Moonrise Kingdom. I don't remember him being in Moonrise Kingdom.
Okay.
Even though I've only seen that movie once.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right.
But I did like that.
Dropping him off
At the airport?
right? Getting some one-on-one time with him, which is cool because it's sort of like connecting to where we left off as an audience, right?
Right.
Connecting to there's Henry, there's his son, right? Mm-hmm. And then, getting some exposition. He's divorced.
Yep, he
Right.
and Henry's mom got a divorce in the time between.
His ex-wife fucking hates his guts.
Yeah.
Right. So much so that he can't, which I get, right? As a child of divorce, your fault.
Shut the fuck up.
As a child of divorce, you don't want there to be conflict, and so you try to avoid it, and so you try to, make these compromises. Like, okay,
Right.
like if you can handle not going to this thing, that'd be great because so and so's going to be there or whatever, right?
Yes, like
I
when he
get
talks about the piano recital.
Right,
He's
like
like, it's going to stress mom out, and it's just going to stress me out. Maybe just don't come.
Right. Like my parents aren't really to that place, but I mean, it just in case, right? You're like, that thing would be weird if you went. Whatever.
Well, yeah, and that's something that I also connected to. Also being as a child divorced, trying to cater to one parent or the other, because growing up in that, you don't want everyone to feel uncomfortable or anything like that.
Because that would make me feel uncomfortable.
Exactly, and Henry says it perfectly and very eloquently, as an almost 13-year-old would, or no, he would be 13. Yeah. It's just going to stress mom out, which is going to stress me out. So it would just be better if you don't come.
Yeah.
And it's not that he doesn't want his dad there. I'm sure would love for Jesse to be there, but it's just, he knows what will happen. And I think he wants to avoid his dad or his mom, with someone getting their feelings hurt. Mm-hmm. So better to hurt feelings now than later.
Yeah. And, Jesse is sort of, whatever. But again, I like this idea of connecting to where we left off with this, it's not, it's expositional in Before Sunset that he has a kid, right?
Right.
But being able to meet the kid and whatever. And then once he leaves the airport.
We're done with Henry.
Oh, yeah, that's a wrap on Henry. But, in person, that's a wrap on Henry. As he calls Celine a couple of times. And then we're thrusted into his new life, this new world, right?
Yes.
This world where he is with Celine. They have 2 girls.
Mm-hmm.
And
Nina and Ella.
Haley said that they look like the Sprouse brothers. The Sprouse twins.
Of course, in 2012, the Sprouse brothers were still... They had just gotten done with, I think, The Sweet Life on Deck, so they were like...
I mean, yeah, but they look like... I was like...
I could kind of see it a little
I
bit.
do too. As soon as she's...
You're just like, damn it.
God damn it. Yeah.
Like, no, I always thought they looked like Julie Delpy, but okay.
Okay, fine. And I
fun.
like this opening ish because we open in the airport,
yeah.
but this sort of introduction to their new life, right?
Where the camera follows Jesse into his car, and then the camera tracks back. I was like,
dude,
that was so smart.
It's so good, and it doesn't cut, right? I mean, it's amazing. Mm-hmm. You know,
Linklater just killing it with these long shots.
I'm telling you, bro. And nothing was improvised. You know, this is all just heavily rehearsed.
Yeah,
which is really
I was
rad.
watching a little bit of the supplements on my Criterion of them day one after they wrapped production, and they were in the hotel room, and they were talking about how like, yeah, we had an outline, and we had these ideas, we had the scenes planned, but what happened in those scenes is what we had to figure out. And I was like, oh, that's how they wrote it.
Yeah.
Which I found so interesting, but because again, I know Future 8 hasn't been putting up the counter, but it's just so natural, like how they talk to each other. And I love, and you're right, and I love how Linklater thrusts us back into Jesse and Celine's relationship. Okay, now let's see what they've been up to for the last 9 years.
And this also plants the seed of the climax for the big fight, which is how do we get Henry back in our lives, right?
Yeah.
Because not only is Henry very important to Jesse, but also to Celine as well, which I liked.
Yeah, so did I. That Celine has really kind of taken on this very loving stepmother relationship with Henry.
Right, and Henry reciprocates this, right, as well, because he is also, he
calls her twice.
Right, he loves Celine just as much as he would love his mom, right? Except his mom is a drunk alcoholic bitch.
Yeah, which I love that Celine does not hold back during the fight about Jesse's ex-wife.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
Right.
Yeah, and I love how we catch up with them. It's like, okay, so, all right, they're together now. They have these two girls. What have you guys been up to? Jesse's still a writer. Celine is in sort of a transitional period from being an Earth fighter to now maybe potentially working for the Paris government.
Yeah.
And it was just like how I felt with Before Sunset. It just felt so great picking up where we left off, but but even though it has been a 9-year time jump, it does feel like we're picking right up where we left off.
Right. And it's the little things. It's the thing about the apple.
Yeah.
Right? Like that, he's stealing the apple from his daughter.
You're going to take food from your daughter.
It's like, snooze, you lose. You know what I mean? Which, like with the ruins too, it's like we're teaching them a very valuable lesson that you snooze, you lose. It's these very fun, light conversations, and then of course sprinkling in the seed of
what's gonna.
Right. I hate that I'm so far away from Henry. Right, and I hate that we're not a part of these very important years of his life, according to Jesse.
Yes, because as we learn, also through exposition, Henry is about to go into high school. He's going to start as a freshman. And, Jesse says this is a very crucial time in his life, and I want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And Celine, I will say, I apologize, everyone, if you can hear my dog.
I hate your dog.
Our neighbor's kids are out, and, she feels like she has to.
Yeah, they're let out of their cages every once in a while, and so they're free ranging at the moment.
What, the kids?
Yeah, the kids are free ranging. Yeah, the kids are out of their cages.
I should have just kept her in a crate in the basement. Your dog? No, my wife.
My wife.
I've been watching How I Met Your Mother, and when they bring back Bob Odenkirk.
Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So, oh shit. Hang on, I lost that thought. Hang on. Hang on. Okay. But Celine, very. So okay. Sure. Even though I really love this movie, Celine's argument, the whole movie, I see where Jesse comes from, because it does kind of come out of nowhere, where she immediately, all Jesse's saying is, I hate being away from him. This is a crucial time. I want to be in his life more. That's all he's saying.
Yeah.
And Celine immediately, I'm not moving to Chicago.
Right. And it is sort of out of nowhere. But I could also see where Celine is like, he's gearing up. right? I don't want him to waste his time thinking about
Right.
breaking it to me. We're not going. Right.
Right.
And so, like, it's sort of like this is not the first time they've had this conversation.
Probably because
Right.
as we learn in the big fight, you always get sad when he leaves,
Yeah.
and you always start a fight,
Yeah.
which I feel like may be subjective because it seems like at least through Jesse's eyes, he's not trying to start a fight. He just
Right.
wants to talk. Is
Yeah.
what he keeps saying. But again, we'll get to the big fight.
Yeah. So, like, I do see, again, it's this idea of Linklater plopping us, 9 years later, right? Where I think in a normal movie, like in a normal sequel, right? We would almost it would almost be episodic where yes, we're catching up with them, but there'll be new stuff, right?
Right.
A beginning and an end to new stuff, right?
Right.
But in here, it's almost like we're in the middle, right? He's plopping us in the middle of, these people's lives, where before Sunset, there was almost a sequel-esque
Quality.
to it because, yes, we're catching up with these characters, but it's a beginning, him, being there for a specific purpose, him meeting up with her again, and then whatever, right?
As for this time,
It's just
they're in the tail end of their summer vacation.
Yeah.
In Greece, which I love the locations of all three movies.
Yeah.
Vienna in the first one, Paris in the second one, and now we're in Greece.
Yeah.
And I just love that. And I love that Linklater is unafraid to actually film there. And like, oh yeah, we're gonna film in Philadelphia, and we're gonna make it look like Greece. No, no. We're packing up. We're going to Greece.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go. But anyway, so yes, we're plopped right in the middle of their summer vacation, and it's like the tail end, right? They only have like a couple more days before they head back to Paris.
Yeah.
I believe. They don't explicitly say, but if they're sending Henry back, then their vacation is almost over.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. Yeah, we're catching up, but unlike before Sunset, where there's new stakes, the most new that there is to this is Celine and Jesse are officially together, and they have these girls.
Yeah.
But something I liked in that after before the documentary that they did about the movie, Linklater says like, yeah, we needed to understand that they had kids, but we weren't going to focus on the kids.
Right.
Which I think also feels what you're saying is him just kind of plopping us in the middle.
Yeah, because it's not like the kids are new.
Like
You know what I mean?
like, oh, they have twins now. And then, okay, cool.
They're
Don't focus on them.
Yeah, they're like 6. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so it's like, kids aren't new to them. You know what I mean? Kids are new to us.
Yeah.
But not to them. They're just like, whatever. Like, we've had them for a while. Who cares? You know what I mean?
They're the old nude kids.
Yeah, they're kind of getting stale. You know what I mean? Honestly.
Yeah, that she just leaves a good enough apple just like laying around.
Exactly. I mean.
So anyway, so this is where when we catch up with Jesse and Celine, this is when we get our first little seed to the big fight of I'm not moving to Chicago.
Yeah.
And Jesse already kind of being combative is like, I didn't say that.
Right.
And then we kind of have to put that potential argument to bed.
Yeah, pin it.
Because the girls wake up.
Yeah.
And they have to be like, oh, hey girls, like we're gonna stop at a gas,
Oh my god! And then they were like, "What about the ruins?" Like they were closed.
They were closed. We're gonna hit it up.
That made me laugh so hard. They were closed.
The ruins were closed.
The ruins were closed.
And I love the apple, and I love that she speaks to them in French, and we don't know what she says about
Haley
the apple.
does because very few of the sentences she knows. How they get you to form sentences when they teach you French, and the thing she was using is a woman is eating an apple. The man is eating an apple. The kids are... And so when she was like, mange la pomme, she goes, mange la pomme, eating an apple. She was very excited that she could use some of her French knowledge in this.
But then we see where they've been staying for the last 6 weeks.
Yes.
This dope ass...
and a fun little lobster connection. I have it up here. The young girl who is with the grandson of that guy is the maid in The Lobster.
I thought she looked a little familiar.
Yeah. I believe, hold on, let me see if I have that right. She's also married to Yorgos Lanthimos.
No, that's funny.
Yeah. Her name is Ariane Lebed. Whatever. I was never going to get that right. Anyway, guys, I wasn't going to get that right. Okay.
But yeah, so we see where they've been staying for the last 6 weeks. They've been staying at a fellow writer's kind of Greek summer home.
Yeah, because he is not Greek.
No, he is British, who just happens to also know how to speak Greek.
Of course.
And that actor actually passed away recently.
Oh, no.
Passed away in 2017.
Oh, no.
But anyway, and so they're staying at this guy named Patrick's house, or his summer home, with another writer, Stephanos, who I actually love that dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't see where any other movies he'd done, but I just love how that actor was handling the scenes. And, and so I love the character of Stephanos.
And I really like that conversation that they're having, and
about the books.
Yes, and of course, a wonderful piece of non-expositional exposition is when they talk about that time, which is the second book. We kind of get a little bit of what happened when the screen faded to black in Before Sunset.
Oh, but they blacked out of the windows on the airplane and had sex. I mean, come on, you didn't actually do that. And he's like, you did.
And, and of course, then we understand why his ex-wife hates him so much. But,
yeah, because...
but whatever.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. It's just, he definitely had sex with Celine once she was done pretending to be Nina Simone, right?
Oh. As I said last week, they 100%.
Yeah, I know. Well, now
100% bone.
Hey, you got your confirmation, all right? And then of course I didn't write it down because I didn't want to. But the title of his third book is ridiculous.
Oh,
no, don't even try. Listen,
I just know the last word is the last sort of sentence is preparing a play called Fleeting.
Yeah,
and that was it.
God, Lord.
Because I love that Stephanos is like, it's too long.
It's too long.
It's too long. And Patrick was like, well, no, like that's good. And he's like, it's too.
And Patrick
long.
really liked this third book, which has nothing to do with him and Celine.
Well, is the third book? Was he pitching the third book, or no? Because he's still writing the third book.
No, he was still writing the fourth book.
He's writing the fourth book, and he's telling them what's the fourth book going to be about. And Patrick loves the idea of, this is all through people's perceptions, which kind of plays into the fight. Because I've noticed throughout each movie, Linklater, well, actually mainly was Before Sunset, when Jesse's talking about the idea he's got for the next book, it's a foreshadowing of sort of something that's going to happen later in the movie.
Yeah.
And so he's talking about this idea of people's perceptions, and of course Stephanos like, well, it's time. You're talking about time, and he's like, no, I'm talking about perception.
Yeah.
And as we get to the fight, we're seeing it from both of their perception. Anyway, and then we get this nice, really cool dinner scene with Stephanos, his wife, Jesse and Celine, the grandson and the girlfriend, and then Patrick and his best friend's
wife,
widow,
right?
Yes, and they just have this long conversation about romance and what it means to be in love, and they ask about how Celine and Jesse meet, and Stephanos goes, "Well, haven't you read his books?" Which you can tell still bugs Celine.
It does bug her that she's a character, in these books that doesn't seem to represent who she thinks she is, right?
Right.
This is not me, and that's not me, and so, but people think it's me, right?
Right.
And we get a lot of that at the hotel as well when she is asked to sign the book.
And Jesse pretty much makes her.
Yes.
Because she's like, I don't want to sign a book I didn't write. And he's like, she'll be happy. She'll be happy to.
Right.
So it still kind of bugs her because, Jesse, as she says repeatedly, he's got a great imagination.
Yeah.
And I think she's bugged by the fact that he probably played with events a little bit, and and he as writers would, he over exaggerated maybe moments that she doesn't like. But any writer, I think the reason why she's bugged by it so much is because he has told her, yeah, it's based on what we did, and I think that's why it bothers her. I think if he was had been more direct in the books and not over exaggerated and made things more maybe down to earth, maybe she wouldn't have been as bugged by it. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. But in the middle of this nice, actually very decent conversation about love and how each couple feels about love, Celine brings up, Chicago, which I was like, what are you doing, Celine? She's like, and he wants me to sacrifice my dreams and move to Chicago. And he's like, well, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I never said that. And you could tell he gets visibly upset because he did never say that. But I agree with you. She knows that's where the
conversation's going to go.
Yeah. And I really liked, I think the other reason why I really like this one is it wasn't all walking and talking. There were these moments where people were sitting and talking together.
Sitting and talking instead of walking and talking.
That's how you can tell it's different.
It's different. And there's more people talking.
Yes.
So,
but as the past two movies, we eventually do get Celine and Jesse
walking and talking. And they even mention it.
Like, when was the last time we just walked and just bullshitted?
Yeah.
And I really liked this moment of them walking to their hotel that Stefanos and his wife booked for them. That way they can have sort of a date night. I like this moment from them walking from Patrick's house to the hotel.
Yes.
Because it is very reminiscent of
the other two.
Right. But it reframes before sunrise. Yeah. Because now here they are, almost 94, 2012.
16. Or no, 18.
18 years later, still walking and talking about, philosophy and love and
this is where we get the big bombshell that really disappointed me in the same way that Jesse being married disappointed me, which is they are not married.
Yes, he I guess being there for 2 months had found a chapel that he wanted to show to Celine, and as they're looking at the chapel, they talk about how the girls asked about when we got married. Mm-hmm. And that's when we learned that they aren't married.
They aren't.
And Celine doesn't want to be married.
And it really disappointed me because, I'm mushy gushy with these guys and I want them to be married and I want them to be together forever. You know what I mean? That's what I want.
I mean, true. Yeah.
But I guess in this world, it's not very realistic, right? Because, they didn't have a traditional
relationship.
Right. And so why would they have a traditional marriage?
But if I'm being honest, technically they're married.
Yeah, I mean...
They spawned 2 humans. They're married.
Is that common law married? Is that what that's called?
Yeah, but maybe it's different in France. In the state of Texas, actually when you combine assets, so you don't even have to have kids. As soon as you combine assets in the state of Texas, you are married.
That's wild. I did not know that.
You are common law married in the state of Texas.
That's interesting.
I learned that from essentially a math class that I took in college. It was kind of a different sort of math class, and we had someone from a bank come and talk to us and talk to us about the the advantages of 401k or whatever. I'm gonna make this side story really short.
I have
and someone in my class raised his hand and was like, hey, I have a question about a buddy of mine, he and his girlfriend got a joint account. Is that pretty smart to have? And the lady didn't say it was dumb, but she was like, well, in the state of Texas, they are now common law married. And he was like, oh, really? Which means it was him.
It was him.
And he was like, oh, really? And she was like, yes, anyway. But yeah, who knows? But in my eyes, they're essentially married. But I get their daughters wanting to know.
They're probably just as mushy-gushy as I am. You know, and they want, the fairy tale wedding and the story and the ceremony and oh my God, they love each other, they want to be together forever. They're wearing the rings. They're not wearing rings, by the way. And
I caught that, but when I first caught that at the beginning of the movie, I was like, oh, maybe they just don't want to wear rings
or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, they're not married, and that really bummed me out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's because I think that's the one thing that Celine wants to hang on to, maybe a little bit, to be a little bit more independent.
Maybe
that's
a good point.
This is the only thing I can hold on to that I have control of is we're not technically married.
Because what's so funny is we get to know these characters so well
Yeah.
throughout these 18 years.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's almost like, just like you said, the way you just said that, it was like, I get it because I know her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how it feels, right?
Yeah. And Jesse wants to, but he respects the fact, like, you know what? I'm not going to pressure you to get married. If you don't want to get married, we don't have to get married.
If you're anything like my dad, why bother, right?
Yeah.
7 years he spent with Dee before he married her, right?
Yeah.
Because he's just like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I've done it before. And it's just like, well,
Yeah.
And so he may be in that mindset as well.
Could
be. That may be a coping mechanism for him. Thinking, like, I've been married before. Maybe it's fine.
Maybe. Yeah.
And he kind of fucked that up. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not all Jesse, right? From the conversation, of course, we're not hearing her side of it, but
Yeah, which we do.
What if she's a really nice lady? You know?
Who, his ex-wife?
His ex-wife?
Maybe.
I mean, I doubt it, but you know what?
No. From how Celine makes her sound, especially using one of my favorite words, I'm not going to say it, the C word.
Yes, C word. We'll see you next Tuesday. A real UNT coffee mug. I bought Haley a UNT coffee mug.
That's awesome.
Yeah. The handle makes the C. Anyway. Whatever.
How long did it take her to get it? Or did she immediately?
She would always say that. She would say it before I bought her one. She'd be like, that chick's a real UNT mug, if you know what I mean. You know?
Oh, okay. So so as soon as she was like,
oh, yeah. Yeah.
She holds it the wrong way. Tunk. Anyway. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? But I wasn't as disappointed. I mean, I was disappointed. I was like, oh, they're not married. But I think I was like, well, I mean, I get it. I guess.
Yeah, sure. Again, that was you coping. You're like, I don't want to be disappointed, so I'm just going to say it's okay. You know?
It is okay.
It's fine.
You're technically married.
It's fine.
In my head canon, you're married.
Yeah, that's right.
But then they make it to the hotel, and that's when we get one of the concierges is a big fan of Jesse's books, asks him to sign them, and then asks Celine to sign them, which again we see her visibly.
And this is, again, points of contention. We're like, planting seeds of frustration.
Yes.
Right?
Leading up to the fight.
Yeah.
Celine does not want to sign because she feels, as you said, that's not her.
Which, we can talk about the tension building because it is brilliant.
Yeah.
The way he builds up this tension. The way, I guess, natural fights progress. I guess. It's the little annoyance. It's the rehashing of it. It's the
reminder.
And then it's a thing that annoys her usually, right? Which is the book being brought up in a unopportune time, right?
Yeah.
Which would bug her, but now she's already kind of upset. It's really going to upset her now, right? And these things are unrelated, right?
Yeah.
And I love the way Linklater sort of lays it out. And of course in Delphi and Hawk also, because they wrote this as well. So, them laying out this tension building, it's sort of like what Denis Villeneuve did with Sicario, right? And in the border crossing scene. Oh, it's so good. It's this slow build. And then of course once it's on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and if I didn't say it enough, Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy have just such great chemistry together.
Yeah.
And you could really tell that they had so much fun making these movies. Like, working with Richard, working together, and really honing in on these characters.
Right, and by this time, it was
second nature. They're like, oh, hey, we're doing another before. Let's go.
Oh, great, let's go.
Let's go. That's how Chris Pratt's going to say it.
Oh, my God.
Because he's not going to do it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Anyway, So they get to their hotel room that Stephanos and his wife paid for. Dope ass hotel.
It is really nice.
And
I like the green.
Yeah, and they're about to get it on.
Yeah, they are. This is
Their first night.
Yeah.
In a while.
Yeah, I was Haley was there, right? Mm. And I go, "Oh, you're missing boobies," because she was doing something else. And she
was she just like, "Oh, okay."
She goes, "Are they good?" And I go, "No, they're all right.
They're all right.
They're fine, I guess." But it reminded me of the scene in Shortcuts. I know you haven't seen it. It's a Robert Altman film. Have you seen Shortcuts?
No.
Okay.
What would you have done? Be like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great. Okay. Well, then it's the same. Okay, then
you've seen a movie.
And that, it's interconnecting stories. Blah blah blah. You know, Downey Jr.'s in it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Jennifer Jason Leigh's in it.
Oh.
But Tom Waits.
Do they punch her a lot in it?
No, not this one. But Julianne Moore is in it, and she does an entire scene bottomless, right? She does the entire scene, and she's having an argument, right? She's in an argument, but she's bottomless. She's only wearing a shirt. And groundbreaking, right, at the time, because women don't usually do that in movies, right?
Right.
In this one, it reminded me of that because she still has her top down and she's on the phone, right?
Yeah, on the phone with Henry.
Which is sort of, again, very realistic depiction. Like, you're not going to, these people don't know they're in a movie. They're not going to, put their... Right?
Like, oh, no. Yeah.
Right. Or it's like when they're in bed and they have the sheet perfectly here on their chest, right?
Yeah.
That's not real life, right?
No.
So I like that he added that detail in there.
Well, and she keeps it down when the argument starts.
Right.
So, okay. So I really want to talk about the argument.
The argument.
So they're about to get it on, and what finally sets it off is Henry calls Celine one more time, and Celine doesn't let Jesse talk to him. Not, I don't think intentionally. It's just Henry called to talk to her.
Right.
They
and he's got to go.
And then that's it.
Yep.
And Jesse finally can't not say something.
Yeah.
And that's what sets this off. Like, why didn't you let me talk to him? Why did you at least let me say hi? Well, he was boarding. He had to go.
Right.
Okay.
Which is completely reasonable, but he's upset, and I understand.
He's upset. And it just snowballs from there. And that's and again, very realistic. One thing leads to another in a fight.
And it leads to another.
And leads to another. Leads to another.
Because I also agree with Ethan Hawke. I agree with Jesse. Don't talk shit about his mom to him. You know what I mean? Like,
because
I don't like that. Don't do that.
When she says, I told him that me and his mom are gonna have to mud wrestle to finally get this out of, fix this, and he's like, don't do that. Like, because that makes him feel bad about himself.
And then good luck. It was the good luck with your mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, it's like, don't say that. Right.
And, of course, Celine doesn't see the harm.
Right.
Because she sees Henry as a young man who is capable of making his own choices, and it doesn't bother him. But that's not how Ethan Hawke sees it, because that's his biological son.
Right, and that's his son, and not only that, but, in tumultuous divorce cases, anything can be used against you. So that could be considered like coaching. Like, right.
Kind of turning.
Because he's still a minor, and so, keep saying negative things about the other one, right?
Is going to turn the kid against.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, anything could be used against. And so, that's what I thought of immediately.
Well, and that makes sense. Yeah. Why he's very, as he says, no, she uses him to make my life hell, which is wrong. It makes sense that he wouldn't, just don't say shit like that.
Right.
Just don't.
Just leave it alone.
Just leave it alone. We'll deal with it. And it snowballs because then, and I think it's funny how they're starting this argument, and you can tell she's like we're not having sex now. And so she, puts her top back up, but he still thinks they're going to have sex. So he takes off his pants. I'm like, dude, you should not have said anything. You should have waited until y'all should have waited till you after you had sex to bring this up.
You can't help it. He's too fired up.
Too fired up. And they have this just, because then it snowballs into, she thinks that he resents her for making him move to Paris, and he's like, no, that's not the case. I made my choice. But she's like, I'm not going to move to Chicago. And then there's these moments, and I really love it, is you think the fight is finally calming down. You're like, okay, good. Like,
it's over.
When she's like, you're a fantastic father. You are a great father.
Oh, good. Mom and dad aren't fighting anymore.
Okay, good. Oh. And then she says how, like, maybe in a month, ask me and we may move. But right now, I don't want to move. And you think it's finally over. And then it ramps back up again.
Now, here's something that we should have done.
Okay.
Had a woman watch that argument and let us know
who was right.
Right, or not necessarily that, but, because I thought the whole time, a couple of times Jesse said some things that he shouldn't have. But the majority of the time, he was just trying to console. He's trying to reiterate, like, listen, that's not what I meant. I promise I'm doing that. Right? And they're like, I honest to God wish you could go back and do you have a beautiful singing voice, all that stuff. I thought he was trying to be the voice of reason. Now, I'm seeing this from the guy's perspective.
From a male point of view. Yeah. I don't. So I knew we were gonna after I finished, because I finished the movie today.
Oh, okay.
I didn't watch it at all last night because
I watched it 2 days ago.
I wasn't in the mood, so I watched it today.
Yeah.
Well, as a relative to this recording. So and I knew, I was like, fuck, this is gonna be hard to talk about, because in my eyes, I mean, both are right. They both have. Now, granted, again, I know they're not married, but of the two of us, I'm the only one that's married here. So that's how I analyze if Ashley and I get into an argument. Both are right.
Yeah.
And yes, I agree. Jesse said a few things that I don't think he should have.
No.
I also think Celine said some things.
I think she said more things. And that's what I'm getting at. Because I don't know if I could have watched this and have been like, Celine's right. Right? I'm on Celine's side, because I'm not.
Well, the biggest thing I disagree with her is what she says last, and I want to save that.
Oh, it was awful.
It is, because this is how, and again, testament to how they wrote the movie. This is just what happens in a fight. Now, I don't want to sound wrong, but I've seen these kinds of fights. I've had these types of fights. Celine definitely is trying to hurt Jesse. He's not.
Yes, and I think that's the big difference. Is she went into it trying to poke, I think, and Jesse pokes every now and again, but he's not. That's not his goal.
No.
Right?
Yeah. And I think this is a point of contention with them when they have a fight. Is he tries, as he says, can we have an unemotional, rational decision? And yes, she does bring up the fact that, oh, you're saying unemotional because I'm a woman. I'm going to be all emotional, which I get. I do. I get it.
She should definitely smile more. Is that what you're saying? I agree.
I really like this sequence.
I know. And
they don't, at least in my opinion, Linklater doesn't say you should side with Jesse or Celine. It's just they're having a fight.
Here's the argument.
Right. Make your decision. I don't, kind of like when we talked about American Psycho with Willem Dafoe, they filmed
yes,
where he knew Patrick was the killer, where he suspected, or Patrick,
didn't think at all.
And they cut him all together.
Right.
And you don't know. And that's how I felt with this. Linklater's just saying, look, they're having a fight. Here's the fight.
Yeah. You don't even have to, you don't even have to have an opinion. I think it's nice to have an opinion because that means you care, right?
Right, yeah.
And the first thing I thought of was, for it to be fair, for it to be even Steven, how long has he lived in Paris?
Right.
How long can you live in Chicago? Because that could be even Steven, right?
Right.
Because it's not
But though, remember she said she lived in New York for 2 years.
That's true. Listen, I know.
And again, this argument just evolves and evolves and evolves. Yeah. And so let's just get to the thing that I 100% disagree with Celine. She said it. She only said it to hurt him.
Yeah.
I don't think I love you anymore.
Ugh.
And walks out the door.
She walked out a few times.
Oh yeah,
Which
but
did that drive you crazy?
It did. Because she walks out. Because the first time she walks out, he says, "You forgot your shoes." She walks out, then she walks back in, and then the fight evolves more. She walks back out, and then that's when he thinks like, "Fuck, it's over." Because that's when he lays face down on the couch.
Yeah.
She comes back in. Fight evolves some more. Then you think it's gonna calm down, and then it evolves, and then that's when she grabs the card, walks to the door, turns back around, says, "I don't think I love you anymore."
Ugh.
Puts the card down and walks out.
It's awful.
And then it's done.
It's just awful.
And it's awful because it was 100% to be vindictive.
Yeah.
It was 100% to hurt.
Yeah.
And, and as we see at the end of the movie, she probably didn't mean it.
Probably not.
But
yeah.
in the moment, and I've been in these types of moments where you think, holy shit, this is it. Like, this is it. We're done. We're done.
Yeah.
All of this life that we built together, it's done. And it's scary, but, and I think, and I love the final scene.
Yes.
So let's calm everyone down. Hey, calm down. There's still more to this movie. There's about 10 minutes left. Jesse tries to fix it, and in my opinion, he does a pretty decent job of trying to fix it. Like, look, like, I'm going to pretend I'm a time traveler, where I'm coming from meeting your 80-year-old self, to essentially and I really like that because he's trying.
I do like this sort of, role play sort of apology that he does. He goes, "Is someone sitting here? Can I say, do you mind?
You don't recognize me?
Oh,
Summer of '94?
So good. And
it kind of reminded me.
It's cute. I like it.
It kind of reminded me of when they're talking to their friends.
Yes.
in Before Sunrise.
Yes. Yes.
But she's not having it, and
No, she's so mad.
And it's because when you say something like that, not only are you still reeling from the argument, but at least in my opinion, you're thinking like, I can't believe I just said that.
Yeah.
And so she's just, the wall is going up higher and higher and higher. And then Jesse finally breaks and he says, "I'm trying to make you laugh.
Yeah.
I'm trying to fix this. If you don't love me anymore, fine." But
She's like, "I don't think you meant it." Right.
like, and I for sure thought, I was like, oh my God, it's just going to fucking end. It's just going to fucking end.
I know.
And then she turns around and says, "So what about this time machine?" And I was like, oh my God. And they start to reconcile. And then that's when the movie ends. And if I'm being honest, I had to look it up. Because as soon as she mentioned, "I'm not moving to Chicago" at the beginning of the movie, I was like, holy shit, they're going to get a divorce.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to see anything else. I just wanted to know, do they get a divorce at the end of the movie? And going in, I was like, okay, they don't. And that's all I knew.
Okay.
And it just, it's and you can tell they're forgiving one another and they're apologizing. And, and in the supplements for Before Midnight, they say like, we don't know what happens to them after this. At least right now we know they're going to be okay.
They're fine. Yeah.
And that's all I need. That's all I need.
Because I don't want you to do another one. And
No.
so we're all good.
Absolutely not.
That time has passed, by the way. So
Yeah, well past 9 years.
yeah,
should-
we're at 10
Yeah, it should have come out
last year.
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or at least this year.
Right.
But so that's Before Midnight, everyone.
That's Before Midnight. And so like, oh boy. Yeah.
Sidebar, if we offended anyone talking about the fight, we apologize, but that fight is just it's so integral to the movie. And it happens.
It's what makes it one of the best films of that year is that fight.
Because it's so, and again, we only have like 20 to 25 minutes left in this movie.
Yeah.
And we're getting this huge ramp up. And like you said, the tension has been laid throughout the entire movie. And then it just explodes.
Yeah.
And
So-
it's, It's great.
Ethan Hawke provided us with great titles to these episodes if we did titles for the season series.
Yeah.
It is how he explains it, and I had forgotten this piece of trivia, where he goes, before sunrise is what could be, before sunset is what should be, and before midnight is what is. And I know, and so I was like, those are good titles. And
yeah, but we had to.
We don't do that for these, but I love the idea of that, right? What could be, right? The anticipation, the sort of the wonder, like where's this going?
It kind of reminded me a little bit
in the first one.
Yeah. So here we're gonna tie everything together with this end of season.
Yeah, we'll try.
So before sunrise kind of reminded me a little bit, and again, I've been rewatching How I Met Your Mother, so I've got that on the brain, is the drum roll episode when they introduce Victoria. Ted and Victoria have this amazing night together, and I wonder if maybe that's before sunrise inspired that episode.
For sure.
They have this amazing night together, but they never kiss.
Right.
And because Victoria says the lead up to the kiss, the drum roll is the best part. And that's what the whole movie made me think of. Okay. Of course, granted, they have sex.
Of course.
And as we learned in the next one, twice. Yep. But, and that's, and I like that. What could be.
Right.
Because we see them immediately fall for each other and have this deep, profound love after first meeting.
Right.
And then that's it. Yeah. Nothing happens. At least for what we thought.
Right.
And then 9 years later,
what should be.
What should be.
So by that he means, this is how they should be. They should be together. He shouldn't be married to someone else. She shouldn't be with this other guy, this war photographer?
Yeah, pretty much.
Whatever. This, photojournalist. They need to be together forever, right? This is
never.
This is how it should be.
Yes.
Them walking and talking forever.
And then this one,
this is what it is to be together, right?
Yes.
And this is, all of this anticipation and, this is how it ended up. You know what I mean? And it doesn't necessarily mean, he's not saying this is how all relationships end up.
No, but it just means for them, they're going to have fights.
Yeah.
But if they work together, which I believe they will, they'll make it through.
Yeah.
And they'll have a long and happy and I kind of scathed over it. I love the conversation of when they calculate how many more years they need to be together. And it's 56, right?
Yeah.
And she asks, will you still want to be with me in 56 years? And he said, absolutely.
I'm looking forward to it.
And I just like, oh,
gosh.
Because, this is right before the big fight.
Yeah.
So right now everything is still lovey-dovey. And man, like, I'm so glad that you chose to do this.
Yeah.
Because I remember you showing me the Criterion, which I got it.
Oh my God.
I may have Future Rain put up a picture of maybe like the box art or something like that.
And the art for each individual one is really good too.
Yeah.
I like the painting they use.
And it's just so, I've never seen a trilogy like this, like, and just because my eyes hit it first, let's use like the Dark Knight trilogy for an example.
Sure.
Sort of the same kind of formula. We have these time jumps that Christopher Nolan does with the evolution of Batman, and we're picking up with him at different points in his life and his career. And yes, the Dark Knight trilogy is phenomenal. The Dark Knight is, in my opinion, one of the best comic book movies ever made.
Yeah.
But the Before trilogy, just this idea of a continuing story, I've never...
Well, it's like this idea that became Boyhood, right?
True.
It's, how can we do this in real time? Waiting the literal 9 years between each movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think he chose 9 because of the time it took from before sunrise to before sunset?
Maybe.
And it was just like, hey, well, let's wait another 9.
Let's wait another 9. I have no idea. That I don't.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be.
Oh, and I noticed, I guess his leg was broken while they were filming this one, so he was being pushed around in a wheelchair, Linklater was.
Whoopsies.
Yeah, oops. But, I mean, it's okay. He's fine now.
Oopsie doopsies.
But I'm really glad you chose this, man, because I remember you telling me when you showed me yours, and you're like, dude, it's the best trilogy ever made. And I was like, that can't be true.
It is, though.
And seeing all 3 of them now, I agree, man. Like, every movie got progressively better. It got, the story of love and romance just deepened with each movie. And it all culminated in this one. And it was so good. I told Ashley, after I finished it, I was like, I think you would really like these.
Yeah.
Watching this story of love start, love pick back up again, and love and she was going off of what I told her. I thought they did break up in this one. And she was like, oh, and love end? I was like, no. Love fight for each other.
Yeah, love stumble.
Love stumble, yeah.
Sure.
And I was like, and I think you would really enjoy these. And
yeah.
she was like, yeah, maybe I may watch them with you.
It's
sometime.
it's not like your typical romance.
No, it's not like, oh my God, I love you. Oh my God, I love you too. Cut 5 years later, fighting all the time.
Right.
As we're with this, it was we eventually get to, they fight, but we had a slow build to that.
Right.
And I don't know, man, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so good. And it's as we talked about back in episode 1, Linklater doesn't have these distinct, I forgot the word. Styles. But at the same time, after watching these, it's very Linklater. Even though he doesn't have there we go. He doesn't have those significant tropes. These romances, they feel like a Linklater movie.
Yeah.
But then you can watch Dazed and Confused and be like, oh yeah, that's Linklater.
That's Linklater.
Or School of Rock, and like, yeah, that's Linklater too.
Bad News Bears.
I love that you keep bringing up that
Bad News Bears.
Do you actually like Bad News Bears? I mean, I know critics hated it.
From what I remember, it wasn't that bad.
I mean, it's Billy Bob Thornton verbally abusing children,
which I love. That's the best part. But I don't think I've ever seen the original, so I think
with Walter Matthau.
Walter Matthau, yeah, I think I've only seen this one.
So have I.
The remake, but I remember thinking it was fine. Yeah.
But anyway, so Jeremy, are you ready to wrap up?
I am. Sadly, we have to let this one go. Because I enjoy being in the presence of Jesse and Celine. I enjoy it. These guys are, they feel like family after a while. So
I mean, I agree. I mean, it is kind of funny, but I agree. Man, and I'm glad you wanted to save this for an end of season series, because I feel like had we done this like maybe the middle of the season, I don't think we could have given it enough time and attention.
You think so?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think actually dedicating the last 3 episodes of the season to these movies, I think, was the right call.
Cool. Yeah, no, I agree, and I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. So, do you want to give, since we already know, which is a first, do you want to give people a little tease for what's coming next season?
Yes, I do. Next season is going to be a little different. It's going to be, well, first off, it's going to be longish.
It's going to be massive. So this is a first, everyone. We usually, little inside baseball, we don't know what we're going to do for a season until we start it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, usually
except for this one. You told me ahead of time. You're like, I'm going to solely pick strange films.
Yeah. That, which ones I didn't know, but
yeah, but so for season 7, I'll let you tell them the theme, but season 7 is going to be big. Since it's going to be lucky number 7, expect about 40 episodes.
Yeah, it's going to be big,
massive.
Yeah.
So Jeremy, what's the theme that we agreed on?
The theme is movies we've never seen.
Yes.
And that means movies that I've never seen will be my picks. Movies he's never seen will be his. Now, I've seen his before. That's fine. But
and vice versa, even
right.
though every one on your list I've never seen either. So
I'm excited to not only expand, right? But also it's an excuse to watch the movies on my shelf that I haven't touched yet.
Exactly. As I explicitly told you the other day, how my Criterion movies I buy for the collection.
Yeah, you blind buy those. For sure.
Do I have an intention to eventually watch them? Yes. Will it bother me if I don't? Not really, but when it comes to the other movies on the shelf, yes, I have to watch them.
I see.
Even if I've never seen them. Gotta watch it.
Got it.
I think the only one on that shelf, on my shelf that I haven't seen, I mean, and there's a couple, are like Queen and Slim, Sunrise, and I think like Glenn Ross.
I love Glenn Ross.
But other than that, I've seen almost every movie on my shelf.
Yeah.
So this, like you, this is an excuse to actually watch the movies I physically own and get more.
Yeah.
So yeah, everyone. We hope you have, firstly, enjoyed our end of season series.
Yep.
As the episodes have progressively gotten better from talking about, man, that movie was so good.
Hey, movies are good, huh?
To, okay, this movie, like, let's talk a little bit, to actually getting into the nitty gritty. We hope you guys enjoyed season 6.
Yeah.
And
it's fun. It got a little weird there for a minute.
It got a little weird.
It gets weird. Things get weird.
But yeah, and thanks again. Once again, thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, for listening and
through another season.
And as a treat, we're gonna throw you guys a bonus episode next week. So, and let's go ahead and tell you what it is. So you guys can participate with us in either in the group, on Facebook, on Instagram.
In the comment section.
Yeah, comment sections of any place that it'll be. We are talking about movies we hate.
Yes. Last bonus episode was movies that, well, no, it was the movies that made us kind of thing. Or was it the ones that we, no. It was like the ones that we stood out to us. The one before that.
Oh, the one before that
was movies that have value.
Right.
Movies that everyone else hates.
That we love.
But we love.
Right.
But these are going to be movies.
Dude, that I just cannot stand.
So there may be some on this list that everyone has seen that you love.
Yeah.
But
maybe I'm going to talk about a movie that you love that I hate. And guess what? You're wrong. And I'm right. So.
All right, everyone. Well, again, thanks for sticking with us for another season. We will see you next week for our bonus episode. And then we'll see you guys in season 7.